This is Amateur Logic, episode 94 for August 13th, 2016. This episode of Amateur Logic was brought to you by MFJ, the world leaders in ham radio accessories at mfjenterprises.com. And by Icom. Summertime fun, get out there and get on the air. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Amateur Logic. I'm George.
I'm Tommy.
I'm Peter.
I'm Emile. I'm Emile again.
And we've got a special guest with us tonight, our good friend from the Great White North. Hi, Mike.
Hi, everyone.
Good to have you with us tonight. We've got something special
finally.
planned, don't we? Finally, yeah. Boy, you guys at home, the ones watching live right now, yeah, you know what kind of problems we've had in the past hour and a half trying to get rolling here, but hopefully we got it.
But we're rolling.
Let's just say, Skype's maybe going to work better than Google Plus Hangouts. We hope. Got the fingers crossed. Well, Mike, you brought something. Well, you didn't bring it, did you? You shipped it down here.
Shipped it.
We had this mysterious plain brown wrapper package show up. It came from a foreign entity. It says Canada.
Is it ticking, George?
I keep hearing something.
It rattles though.
What's that green glow?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's this thing has got a date on it that we just kind of missed. Well, Mike sent this down here to us on 6/7 of 2016, and
Wow, that's 2 weeks before field day.
yeah, I was saving it, because I wanted to open it on the show and have Mike join us, and we've had 2 field day episodes and just a lot of stuff going on since then, so we hadn't quite got around to it. Mike, is this going to be safe to open?
You know what? Your guess is as good as mine at that point.
Well,
You take your chances, George.
yeah, I hear you. We don't know exactly what's in here.
But we're going to find out.
There's some stains on the package. We're going to open this a little later in the show and just find out.
As long as it's been what's in it now may not be what originally went into it.
Yeah. Should we soak it with the water hose or just take it out in the yard and shoot it? I mean, that's my biggest concern right now.
Your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea at this point what you're going to find in there.
Okay.
Well, you'll be a witness to see, so
Yeah.
all of you will.
We'll be getting on with that here shortly then, but let's get on into the show. We got a lot of fun stuff going on tonight. Peter, you've got something special tonight that you actually had ready last month.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Something that'll be quite practically useful for people that are trying to write code for the Arduino. I'll unless we're running into the segment now, I'll leave it at that and keep people on tenterhooks as to what it is.
Okay. And Emile, you've got a little snippet of something that you brought tonight.
Absolutely. The W5SLA, the club that I'm a part of here in Southeast Louisiana, had their Hamfest, so I brought back some footage from that Hamfest.
Oh, cool.
All right.
Looking forward to seeing that.
And Mike even brought a video this month. It's a little project he's been working on.
Oh, cool.
Got it right here behind me.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
looks like a big project.
Yeah. Well, let's get on into a few emails then, and we'll get into these videos. This comes from our friend Jocelyn, KD8VRX. You may remember Jocelyn. We've seen him on a few times before, but you'll probably remember his son, Chris, a lot better. He said, "Hi guys, Chris and I will be making the trek to Huntsville for the 3rd year in a row. As you may already know, Chris received the ARRL Hiram Percy Maximum Award, and he's very excited." What do you think about that, Tommy?
I think that's awesome.
You know who we're talking about?
Awesome.
Oh yeah, I know
Cincinnati Short Rib.
Chris. That sounds like a Don Wilbank's name.
Yeah, Peter, you hung out with Chris and Jocelyn and family.
Yeah, impressive young chap actually, and great to see him. That he's advancing his knowledge in amateur radio and obviously making an impression.
Who's in charge of the sticks and the bag for the snipe hunt this year? And I had to write him and tell him, "You're not going to be making it to
I
the
can't
Huntsville
make it. I
Hamfest."
got to work.
So we have no one really to hold the bag, and Peter's not going to be there to beat the stick on the ground. So we just couldn't come up with enough qualified people this year.
Maybe we'll have to do it next year.
Maybe so. Or we might be able to get Don Wilbanks to come.
Yeah, maybe so. But the Huntsville Hamfest falls right in the middle of snipe season, so it's prime time.
Perfect.
Great timing.
Yeah. Well, Jocelyn, we're looking forward to seeing you and Chris and the rest of the family there at Huntsville this year. And you know, we had Chris on here a while back. He's just
Oh yeah, he's a great kid, man.
great
He should.
ambassador.
I think he's probably a good inspiration to a lot of young people to get into ham radio.
I think so. And I'll be hanging out with him next weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm taking my posse, Wayne and Vince, with me.
Well, tell them all I said hi. I sure hate
Okay.
to miss them.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to a big time. Well, Tommy, I think you've got an email over
I
there.
do,
don't
and
you?
yeah, I need to put my glasses on to see it. I only need these
Yeah.
to see.
Maybe you want to put those on because I've been getting emails and seeing posts on Facebook and everything that, you know, I thought you were on drugs or something. Some of the stuff you've been
Yeah, that's
typing
because
lately.
I've been most of the time I'm on my phone for being gone, and
Yeah.
autocorrect gets me. I haven't bothered to put the reading glasses on,
Yeah.
but maybe I need to
You-
do something about
You
that.
jeeped somebody's hands last week, and it sounded painful. I don't even know what it was.
Yeah,
That's probably why he's not competing in the Olympics. Is
Yeah,
I don't recommend doing that. From Rick K1XYZ. I like that call. That's cool. I know everything's a matter of opinion, but do you think the 7300 is worth the extra $600 over the 7100? You can get the IC 7100 for $909 while it lasts. There's a sale running. The 718 is more in my budget, but it seems like extra money to step up is worth it. You don't need to go into depth. Quick answer is okay. Local Ham also suggested a KX2. I live in a small apartment, do more monitoring than transmitting. Anyway, he says he doesn't really do CW, doesn't have an interest in that. But I guess that's a matter of opinion on what you like. I like the 7300 for what you get for it. It's a good value for the money, but you can't really go wrong with the 7100 either. If you want the SDR features, then it's worth it. If you're going to spend a lot of time on HF and you like the SDR,
the 7300.
the 7300, yeah. And the color display is nice. But that said, I own the 7100 and having D-Star on it, and the other modes is nice
And VHF
as well.
and UHF.
VHF, UHF, all the bands, all the modes. The 7300 is more of a dedicated to HF rig. So it kind of depends on what you want. They're two different class of radios, or two different types of radio.
You know how I feel about it. Every man should have at least 2 radios turned on all the time.
Can't really argue with that. So George's vote is to get both of them.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I guess you're gonna have to weigh out, what you want. If you want a radio that does all the bands, 2 meters, 70 centimeters through HF, then the 7100's the way to go. But
Yeah. And I didn't mean to be discriminatory there, but every woman should have at least 2 radios turned on too.
that's true. Every person should have at least 2.
There you go. That's what I should have said. Sorry.
So anyway, it's really kind of a matter of choice of whether it's worth it or not.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's kind of hard to answer that.
Well, Peter, tell us a little bit. Just get us set up here so we can get on into your video.
Sure. Basically, if you ever do any kind of programming with an Arduino, you realise that to test your software, from time to time you need to look at various variables, and you need some way of getting some output. In other words, the Arduino to actually tell you what the value of those variables is at a given point in time. Now, you can use the serial monitor for that, but if you're actually away from your computer and testing out in the field, what are you going to do? How are you going to look at what's in the Arduino? Well, the answer is to add an LCD screen of some kind, and that you can do that quite inexpensively. So we're going to show you in this segment how to add an LCD screen. Morning all. This month we're going to play around a little bit with Arduino Unos, the little development board that was developed a few years ago in Italy, and it can help teach you how to program in C and also some basic electronics. I'm not a big fan of C, to be perfectly honest, but it is nonetheless a good way to actually learn that particular language. Now here's a question for you. Is this a real Arduino Uno, or is this a clone Arduino Uno? Looks real. Well, I can tell you it's actually a clone. If you look down the left hand side here, you'll see the pins are numbered A0, A1, A2, A3, A4, and then there's another A1 pin. On a real Arduino Uno, that other A1 pin would be numbered A5. So it's almost 100% compatible, but not quite. Nonetheless, it's a pretty good approximation of an Arduino Uno and should do most tasks without any problems whatsoever. Now, I do encourage people to buy at least one genuine Arduino Uno to support the people that actually develop the board. But if you want a few boards to play around with and to throw in your electronics toolkit, then get yourself a few of these clone Arduino Unos. They're very, very cheap. You can buy them on eBay, and you know, even if you wreck one or two, you've hardly lost any money at all. There is one little problem though. If you actually hook this up to your computer, chances are it's not going to recognize the serial port. In other words, when you go into the Arduino IDE, it won't actually see the Arduino hooked up to your computer. And the reason for that is a lot of these Chinese clones use a particular chip that requires a driver. And that driver is called the chipset is called the CH340 chipset. So you need a CH340 driver. I'll put a link down below so you can actually find that and install it. And then you'll be able to use this clone Arduino Uno just like a normal Arduino Uno. Now here's a problem for you. Let's say I've got an Arduino Uno and I've written a program and I want to know the value of a particular variable, say A, at a given point in time in the program. How can I get the Arduino to tell me what that value is? Well, if I'm hooked up to my computer, I can use the serial monitor in the Arduino IDE and find it out that way. But I might not necessarily be hooked up to my computer. So what can I do? Well, the answer is you can use one of these. This is a 16 by 2 liquid crystal display. As you can see, it's got 16 pins down the bottom, numbered 1 through 16. And I actually recently bought a whole stack of these quite cheaply from a local electronics surplus store. What I've done is I've soldered on a header here, or rather the header pins, and again they're numbered 1 through 16. Now it's very important that if you're going to use one of these LCD screens, what you need to do is make sure that it's compatible with the Hitachi HD 44780 driver. Okay, we've got our LCD and we've got our clone Uno. Let's hook this up and see if we can get it working. Let's now go through the wiring of the circuit. Now you're going to need a couple of extra components here to make this all work. The first one is a 10 kilo ohm variable resistor or potentiometer. Now you've got 3 pins and the middle pin is called the wiper, and there's 2 outside pins as well. We use that to control the brightness on the LCD screen. The other thing you're going to need is a 220 ohm resistor. So let's get started. Pin 1 on the LCD, otherwise known as VSS, is connected to the ground pin on the Arduino. Pin 2, otherwise known as VDD, is connected to the 5 volt pin on the Arduino. Pin 3 on the LCD, otherwise known as V0, is connected to the wiper on the 10 kilo ohm variable resistor. Pin 4 on the LCD, otherwise known as RS, is connected to digital pin 12 on the Arduino. Pin 5 on the LCD, otherwise known as R/W, is connected to the ground pin on the Arduino. Pin 6 on the LCD, otherwise known as E, is connected to D11, digital pin 11 on the Arduino. Pin 7, 8, 9 and 10 on the LCD are left blank. LCD pin 11, otherwise known as DB4, is connected to Arduino D5. LCD 12, otherwise known as DB5, is connected to Arduino D4. When I say D4, I mean digital pin 4. LCD pin 13, otherwise known as DB6, is connected to Arduino digital pin 3. LCD pin 14, otherwise known as DB7, is connected to Arduino D2. LCD 15, otherwise known as LED plus, you connect that pin to one side of the 220 ohm resistor. The other side of the 220 ohm resistor you connect to the Arduino 5 volts. So you've got LCD pin 15 going to the 220 ohm resistor on one side, and then on the other side of the 220 ohm resistor that's going to 5 volts on the Arduino. And the final thing is pin 16, which is LED minus, sometimes marked as LED minus, well, that gets connected to Arduino ground. Now I said there were 3 pins on the variable resistor. The middle one, as I said, was connected to LCD pin 3, but the 2 outside ones, well, you can do this either way. Connect one of them to Arduino ground and the other to Arduino 5 volts. Next, connect your Arduino Uno to a serial cable and then connect that cable in turn to your computer. In the Arduino IDE, go into Examples and select the Liquid Crystal Library. Select the Hello World example and then press the right-hand arrow key to transfer the example program to your Arduino. If you get an error message, check under Tools Port and make sure that you've selected the correct port. As I said, if you're using a fake or rather a clone Arduino, make sure you've got that CH340 driver installed. I've now wired up the LCD to the Arduino Uno and also to a 10K pot and a 220 ohm resistor. Now the connections are a little bit loose, but hopefully they'll work. I've put the Hello World program or example on the Arduino Uno. I've uploaded it onto the Arduino Uno. So if I apply some power, it should start working. And there you go. It's printed out Hello World and it's counting up from 1 at 1 per second. Now if I alter the variable resistor, you can see I can make the text fade against the background. So that's working fine. I've got the backlit on the LCD is working okay, and I've got the text working okay. Now the point is the code for this particular example is not that very long, and you can alter it such that you can actually print out your own text on the LCD, or if you want to find the value of a particular variable at some point in your program, you can use the instructions in the code to actually print out the value of that variable. We'll look at how you can do that now. This is the code behind the Hello World example, and I'll show you how you can actually use this in your own programs. So let's say you want to print out at some point in time in your program the value of a variable, let's say A. Well, what you want to do first of all is set up your liquid crystal display in your code. So what you want to do is the first two lines include liquid crystal.h, liquid crystal LCD 121154, etc. Copy them into the beginning of your code. Under void setup, you only need to grab one of these lines, namely lcd.begin, and then in brackets 16,2. Copy that into your void setup, and then in void loop, you basically, every time you want to print something, you need to use two commands. The first is to set the cursor, and you can see it there, lcd.setCursor, in this case 0,1, which will set it on the bottom line on the left-hand side. If you want to set it on the top line on the left-hand side, use 0,0. And then you want to use a print command, which you can actually see an example of under void setup, but you would actually use it in your void loop, and you go lcd.print, and then in brackets afterwards you put whatever it is that you want to print. If it's text, you put it in quotation marks, and if it's a variable such as A, then you just put A in the brackets. And don't forget to put your little semicolons after each of your commands, otherwise the program just won't run. I should correct myself, I said an LCD display before, it's actually an LCD screen. Or is it the other way around? I said LCD screen before, and it's actually an LCD display. Always get those two mixed up. But the point is, you can get the value of your variables and put them on the little display, and then at various points in the program, you can see what those values are.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a nice little tutorial. That's similar to the one I did a while back, but I'm glad to see that one because mine was a serial display. And that one's not, and mine has flicker because the serial data is just slower.
Does flicker?
Yeah, there's a little bit of flicker in it. If you keep updating something, like he had the counter on the second line, it flickers a little bit when it does that.
Yeah, and those little screens are very, very cheap and very easy to wire up. And then once you've actually got your program running, you can just disconnect them and just comment out the code that deals with the LCD instructions, and you just leave it in there in your program. Because it's commented out, the instructions won't run. So
right, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yep,
nice, useful little tip.
Yeah, you know, I've got one up here that I have never even hooked up yet. I need to.
Your Arduino? Or display?
No, a display to hook up to my Arduino.
Oh, okay.
I bought it at Huntsville, was it last year? Maybe the year before. I've had it a good while and I hadn't used it yet. I need to.
Must have needed it pretty bad.
So we've got a few emails to get to here. I think, Peter, the next one here is going to be yours. What have you got there?
Yeah, I got an email here from Don. He found a really, really good resource, and the link that he provides actually provides more than 500. It's like a database of amateur radio related links. They're all categorized, and those categories include just about everything, even as the philosophy of amateur radio. So that's quite there it is, ksarrl.org/deep link. So, yeah, check that out. And thanks so much for sending that in, Don.
That is a nice one. I think we've probably got another email. Email from Emile. Will you?
Yeah, let's see if we can find him.
There it is.
Yeah, George and Tommy, I got an email from our Google Plus friend, Ralph Mills. And he was talking about, it's definitely a cheap old man compliant item too, so that's a good thing. There's at least 10 different items on this that he wrote about, and I won't go over all of them, but there's a few of them that I'm partial to. If you see there on the right hand side, there's a Radio Shack helping hands, and I'm a little bit partial to that because I have one myself. The lid he used off of a bag balm thing up at the top right there. You'll see the lid that he's got with a magnetized device. I mean, to me, anybody who can recycle something like that from those tins, especially from an ointment or I forget exactly what they call it, that helps solve irritation from cow's udder, backbone, that's got to be worth extra points right there.
You just don't see that every day. I think his theme here is that he's got his whole workbench right there on that little metal tray.
Little cookie tray type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Anything else that stood out to you, Emile?
I know for me, these little helping hands from Radio Shack, I also own one, so I know exactly what he's talking about. It's great for a little space or a table space that you don't have a lot of room to work with. So
yeah, I've got one of the smaller ones that's got a little suction cup on it. You suction cup it down to the table.
Yeah, that looks like one of the big ones.
So kudos to Ralph for having the cheap old man compliant item of the show.
One of the things I like there is, you see, he handmade that vise to hold the PC board there. That's got a couple of pencils in it and some screws, and it's an old piece of wood. And then behind it, you see that solder sucker. Isn't that cute? That's like a baby solder sucker there.
Yeah, that is cute. Speaking of cheap old man compliant, that's extra points for the homemade vise made out of the pieces of wood.
We're going to be back in just a moment, and we've got a lot more to go, so don't go away. The MFJ 1928EX is a heavy-duty portable antenna stand that extends to 6 feet and collapses to only 38 inches for easy transportation. This black stainless steel stand will hold up to 66 pounds of antenna steady and comes with a fiberglass telescoping pole and military-grade quick clamps for quick setup. The MFJ 2286 Big Stick is a portable monopole featuring MFJ's rugged stainless steel collapsible whip paired with an adjustable high-Q air-wound coil. Efficiency matters, so it's not surprising this winning combination stands head and shoulders above shorter backpack antennas. The antenna is constructed of all aluminum and stainless steel components for years of great performance, and it's rated at 1 kilowatt. While it extends to a full 17 feet, the 2-pound monopole collapses to just 28 inches in seconds. Adjusting the length of the antenna and the high Q coil makes tuning a breeze anywhere from 7 to 55 megahertz. For the lower bands, a counterpoise wire assembly is included. Big Stick is for the ham radio operator on the move and on the go and hungry for the next great QSO anywhere, anytime. The MFJ 2289 Big Ears use the same high Q coil and 2 of the rugged collapsible monopoles. Efficiency is the key to launching a big signal in remote areas, and Big Ear does it so well you might forget you left home. The secret is MFJ's incredibly strong and weather-resistant stainless steel telescopic whips stretching to a whopping 34-foot span, twice the length of other portable antennas. The antenna includes a robust 45-degree center mounting block with a built-in balun, and it's good for up to 1 kilowatt. There's no counterpoise required for full 7 to 55 megahertz operation. If you need a quick setup, rugged, high-performance portable HF antenna, you can't beat the MFJ Big Stick or Big Ear. Available at mfjenterprises.com or wherever amateur radio products are sold. One of your favorite field day antennas.
Yeah, I was going to say, I made a lot of contacts on the Big Ear just like that.
Yep. Well, it's always fun to visit Hamfest, and as we mentioned earlier, I'm going to be in Huntsville next weekend for the Huntsville Hamfest over there, August the 20th. Yes,
It'll
21st.
So you'll probably have seen this by then.
Yep, probably will, and hope to see some of you over there wearing the colors, the AmateurLogic colors.
Yeah, wear the colors.
What colors are you wearing tonight?
I got the Last Man Standing colors on today, the official Last Man Standing Amateur Radio Club t-shirt. They're actually starting back up on September the 23rd.
Okay, cool.
Actually, I did. That's not why I wore the shirt. I liked the shirt and I wore it today, but it made me think about looking it up, so I just found out it starts on 23rd.
That's a really comfortable shirt, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's awesome.
I really like mine. Well, Emile, you got some Hamfest action for us this time around. You want to set it up?
George, the W5 SLA Hamfest, was the club I'm in, is they had their Hamfest the month, just after Field Day, which was great, one after the next of fun. And I once again found an impromptu cameraman that was showed up with the crew there, and we also have somehow KC5KWZ wound up in every shot this time on the other side of the camera. So take a look.
Looks like a lot of fun, Emile.
Yeah, we had a pretty good turnout. Food, it was hot. I remember that, but lots of good. The vendors showed up, and a lot of people showed up. Prizes, you name it. You guys know what a Hamfest is about.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. What?
Go
What are you
ahead.
going to say?
I was going to say it. I wish I'd have known. Of course, last weekend wasn't good. I had a lot of stuff going on, but I'd like to get down there to that one sometime. I used to go to the Hamfest a good bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the Hammond's a good one to come to, and I feel for those guys right now. They're having some. They're in that weather and all the rain right now, so we keep an ear out for their club to see if there's anybody needing help over there. But they're dealing with some flooding.
You've never been to the Dayton Hamvention, have you, Peter?
No. It's on my to-do list. Maybe a couple of years down the track we'll get there. But yeah, I'm just always intrigued because you've told me that I've been to Huntsville. I've seen how big that is, and you tell me that Dayton is multiple times as big again, and I just can't conceive of how big something a Hamfest that big. So it intrigues me.
Then you've got to go.
Yeah. Emile, have you ever?
No, I've never been to Dayton nor Huntsville, so I need to start
Huntsville.
planning the travel.
Oh man, come on next weekend.
Next weekend, okay? I gotta look at the calendar, but okay.
Yeah, we'll be having a big time in Huntsville. You ought to check it out. It's several magnitudes bigger than our Hamfest here, and the one that y'all have down there. It's
Yeah, I've heard it's a big one and a good one.
Yeah, there's a
Emile,
nice facility.
Emile,
too.
have you? Emile, have you been to the Space Museum at Huntsville?
No, I have not been to the Space
Then
Museum
you
there
must
either.
go. You
All right,
must
that's
go.
2 reasons. 2 reasons to go.
carry your communicator with you. You might need it.
I'll have to go.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And Mike, we've met you up at the past couple of Hamventions and hung
Past
out.
2, I believe, Hamventions,
Yeah.
and it's the first time I'd been back in probably 25 years. I'd gone several years in a row when I was a teen with some other licensed hams, and Peter was asking about the arena, the Hera, and well, let's just say it hasn't changed much in that time. But it was always a good time, and you know what? We never really needed much in terms of facilities. The new place should be interesting. It's going to be a challenge, I think, for the folks of the Dare Group. Because the buildings aren't laid out the same. Everything was all kind of under one roof as far as the indoor vendors were concerned. And then you just had like the flea market area outside. Whereas the way I understand it, the new facility has several buildings, but they're not attached. So that'll be interesting to see how that all comes together.
Yeah, and we didn't mention, but they're closing the Hara Arena where the Dayton Hamvention has been for what, maybe 25 or more years.
I guess
I think it's more like 50 or 60.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, ever since there was a Hamvention.
You brought a video too.
I did my best, and go easy on me, guys, because it was my first attempt, and I'll tell you, I have the utmost respect for anybody that does any type of video work and editing and all that other stuff that goes along with it. I think it was not this past Dayton, but the Dayton before, 2015, we talked about the DV3000 board from Northwest Digital Radio. And George, you and I did a segment on that.
Right.
And a project. And I think I made a comment also at last year's Hamvention that we needed to do another D-Star segment because we got a lot of comments and it seemed to be a popular topic. So tonight's topic is going to be another project from the same group, the Northwest Digital Radio guys. And they developed a board that will actually, and I should back up a little bit because this board, although I'm using it to run D-Star on my Fusion repeater, it can also be used with other radios. You can use it in a simplex as a simplex repeater. You can use it for Direwolf. You can use it as an APRS iGate, IRLP, Echolink. So basically, what it is, it's a sound card based modem. But in this video, you'll see how I've connected it up and running D-Star on a DR1X Fusion repeater.
Let's look at a UDRC in action connected up to a Yaesu System Fusion DR1X repeater operating D-Star. We'll need our UDRC board, the Raspberry Pi Model B, version 2 or 3. A high-density straight-through DE15 cable is needed to connect up to a DR1X. It may look like a standard VGA video cable, but it's not. VGA cables may not have the proper wiring configuration, so you need to ensure that you use a suitable cable. No external power to the Raspberry Pi is needed. It's provided by the DR1X through the DE15 cable, so be sure that you don't also provide power via the micro USB connector on the Pi. You'll need at least an 8 gig micro SD card, class 10 or better. More about this later. We'll be using a custom Raspbian Jessie image, available for download from the Northwest Digital Radio site. Okay, so now we have a Raspberry Pi 2 or 3 with the UDRC board installed. Our micro USB card with Compass image is inserted into the Pi's USB card slot. As soon as we are confident that everything is connected up correctly, we can power up the DR1X.
Link to REF014 Charlie.
VE3MIC, this is K9MIT. You're on, Mike.
K9MIT, VE3MIC. Good evening, Chip. How you doing tonight?
Very good, Mike. Doing good. 14 Charlie seems to be working just fine. Back to you.
Anyway, I appreciate you helping me out here, Chip. And by the way, I'm running a little test here. I'm running D-Star over my Fusion repeater using a UDRC board for Northwest Digital Radio. And how's the audio quality, by the way? I've been doing a little bit of adjustments on the audio levels.
Yeah, good deal, Mike. No, I'll tell you what, it doesn't, it's not too bassy, and it doesn't seem, abnormally high or anything like that. As far as, it occurs to me, it sounds to me, it's a very, very pleasant audio level, tone-wise, level-wise. No complaints on this end at all.
Okay, very good. Happy to hear that. I could have got a little bit more technical, got the scope out and adjusted the audio levels accordingly, but anyway, I won't keep it too long here, Chip. I know it's getting late here, but listen, I really appreciate you helping me out here and helping me with this demo, and hope to see you tomorrow night. 73, K9MIT from VE3MIC.
It's a very cool little board. It uses a Texas Instrument DSP audio chip. Mm-hmm. And they did a really nice job on it. And I should point out, too, I don't know if you can see it, in addition to the high density 15-pin connector, it also has the standard mini DIN 6-pin, as most radios have for digital connections. And I like the fact that they added onboard voltage regulation, so that everything's powered right from the DR1X. You just plug in that 15-pin connector, and you don't have to supply power to the Pi at all.
Cool. Yeah. That's pretty neat stuff. Those Northwest Digital guys, man, they don't sit still. Seem like they're always cranking something out these days. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a live demo. They actually had a DR1X repeater, and I'm not sure. I mean, it's a testament to how well they did designing the DR1X Fusion repeater. But they had one at their booth, and they were running it, I think, into a dummy load, so that people could actually see how it worked.
And Tommy and Mike, we got to hook up on D-Star some kind of way.
Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely. The interesting thing is, too, when you plug into that 15-pin port on the DR1X, you're effectively disabling the internal repeater controller. So basically, the Raspberry Pi at that point is the repeater controller. And I should mention at this point, Jonathan Naylor, G4KLX, he wrote all of that software, IRC-DDB gateway, and the D-Star repeater, and the dummy repeater program that we use for the DV3000 segment. Yep. I don't know if he gets the proper recognition, but I salute you.
oh yeah, absolutely, man. I don't know any D-Star guy that doesn't know who Jonathan is, though. I met him out of Dayton too. He's a super nice guy and done some great stuff for the ham community.
He's probably done more of the software work, from a third-party standpoint of anybody.
Oh yeah, I would think that's probably correct. Yeah. Great guy, does some great work.
Well, we got a couple more emails here, and then we're gonna show you how a vacuum tube amplifier essentially works.
Cool.
But you've got the next one here, Tommy.
I do. I've got a good one here.
Yeah.
Well, they're all good ones, so no partiality.
Yeah. This one just happens to be one that you are reading, so we know it's got
it's extra good. So.
And you've got the glasses on.
I got the glasses on so I can actually see it. This is actually from Pete, W2NJU. He says, hi Tommy, I really enjoyed AmateurLogic 90 and the video of your antenna installation. I remember getting my general and how I researched what would be the right antenna for my small lot with no trees and no budget for a tower. So sounds very similar to my lot. So it came down to two choices, a 40 meter OCF dipole or a Comet CHA 250B vertical. With its claim of 1.5 or less SWR from 75 through 6 and no need for radials, it seemed like too good to be true. So I went with the second choice, the OCF dipole for 40 meters. It's cheap and easy to put up, great for the bands I work. The SWR is under 3.1 or 3 to 1 rather on all bands, and very often from 1.3 to 1.5. I can also use the antenna on 17, 15, and 12 with my built-in tuner on my TS2000. By the way, it also performs well on 2 meters, which I haven't tried that at all with mine. Yeah. So anyway, it says you can use it for signal sideband on 2 meters.
I wouldn't. I would never thought to try 2 meters on it.
Yeah, me either. But I think I'm gonna hook my antenna analyzer up to it just for the heck of it and see, just out of curiosity. So. Anyway, it says, I was wondering what kind of height you have on that antenna. Yes, a quarter wave or higher is best, but few of us can get that kind of height. My antenna runs from an old TV antenna chimney mast to a fiberglass pole on the other end of my yard. Slopes from 33 feet to about 24 feet with a bow at about 20. Also, I think I'd love one of those MFJ antenna analyzers like the one you were using. Maybe I'll ask Santa. Anyway, thanks for an enjoyable episode. My best to George. Hope you have an off-the-hook field day. So anyway, we've had that one for a little bit. But my antenna is, it depends on which week you ask me, because it goes back up in a different spot. So this week it's about 40 feet on the highest end and around 30 to 35 on the lowest end, and in the middle it's probably hanging down around about 25 or so at the balun.
Yeah. You know, if you'd hang that thing with chain, you wouldn't have this squirrel problem.
Yeah. I had a squirrel didn't do it last time. I talked about it after the thing. It actually broke at the wire, but anyway, that's about where I've got mine, and it's probably the best install I've had since I've had it up at that house over the 9 years I've lived there.
Cool. Yeah.
So
well, good. Maybe
hopefully
it'll
stay there for a little while. So.
Well, I've got, this is not an email, this is a Google Plus comment and some pictures, and I'm going to butcher his name here, I know it, but it's our buddy Tom Apelinek. Is that how you would say that?
Yeah, that's how you would say it.
Close enough. But Mike has probably seen him posting over there in the Google Plus before. Well, I'll just set it up here. He says he's been doing some traveling in the last month or so, and you just never know where an AmateurLogic t-shirt is going to show up.
There you go.
Right there, man.
Nice.
Wearing the colors right
Awesome.
there at Lake George.
Awesome. You got to represent everywhere you go.
You got to. And not to be, outdone, he also had it when he went to eat at Tommy's drive-thru.
And I didn't even know I had that.
There you go.
There you go. It's got to be a good place.
Well, the guy standing there with the AmateurLogic shirt on. How could
absolutely.
it not be? And while he was out on his trip, he found the home of the Dewdrop Inn.
Oh,
and
cool.
there it is right there.
Awesome.
You know, I would, he doesn't show us a tower there that they use, but since it's an Echolink net, you know.
Is the address 355-800?
I can't see behind him there to tell if that's it or not. And he did some searching around. He said he just wasn't able to find Whiskey Pete's. He looked everywhere and couldn't find it. And as far as finding a landmark with Emile on it, it's been a real challenge. He said he hadn't been able to come up with anything on that. But he said at least now we can claim that AmateurLogic has been introduced to the aliens.
There you go.
Right there at the alien fresh jerky.
Alien jerky. I don't think I've ever eaten alien jerky before.
Me neither.
Alien fresh jerky. Those are awesome pictures.
Yeah, probably tastes like chicken, huh?
Yeah, probably so. Everything does. But those are great.
Yeah,
man. Thanks for sending those in. I haven't seen those.
That was
yet,
awesome.
so.
Yeah, they were
Fantastic.
fantastic. Yeah.
Actually, yeah. Any of you guys wear your AmateurLogic swag out and send some selfies back in, we'll put those on as well.
Yeah. Yep. That was great. Appreciate that.
Super cool.
Well, right now we're going to take a break and get a message from our friends at Icom, and we're going to come back, and I'm actually going to play that video that I've been teasing about.
You're kidding.
How a tube works. Yeah, believe it or not.
Wow.
Summertime fun. Get out there and get on the air. There's still plenty of time to enjoy the summer shine. Camping, road trips, hiking, and more. Wherever your adventure takes you this summer, make sure you bring your Icom equipment along for the fun. On the go this summer, Icom's new IC7300 is perfect for your next road trip. Revolutionary design and compact size, the real HF fun starts here. RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, large 4.3-inch color touchscreen, real-time spectrum scope, SD card memory slot, and more. Why not communicate with the touch of your fingertips? Perfect for small spaces, the IC7100 is the ideal D-Star option for all outdoor seekers. Angle control head and touchscreen for quick intuitive operation, large internal speaker for clear digital audio, and it's perfect for multiband and all-mode communications. Don't leave home without this mobile device. The ID5100A is a must-have for summertime travel, intuitive touchscreen operation, dual receivers with GPS, DV dual watch, Bluetooth option, and headset option. Visit icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on all the great Icom radios.
As promised here, I wanted to talk about how a tube functions, and there's more than one way to hook up a tube.
The right way and the wrong way.
Right. Well, there's actually more than one right way.
But there's only one wrong way.
That's right. No, there's a lot of wrong ways.
Well, the end result's usually the same.
Yeah. Fortunately, I only hooked it up on paper here, and it didn't catch on fire.
Okay.
So I think we're all safe.
Long before we had microprocessors, integrated circuits, and transistors, we had the vacuum tube. In some countries, they call this a valve, and that's essentially how it operates. The tube type we're going to talk about today is called the triode. It's called that because there's 3 different elements in it. Here's a cutaway drawing from Wikipedia showing the inside of a triode. In the very center of the tube, we see there's a heater. Outside the heater, there's a heated cathode. Outside the cathode, you see something there that it looks like mesh. That's a grid. Outside the grid is the anode, also called the plate, and this whole assembly is encased in something that can have a vacuum pulled on it. In this case, it's glass. Here's a schematic symbol for a tube. We see at the bottom is the filament, which oftentimes is also the cathode, the grid in the center, and then the plate at the top. The circle is the envelope of the tube. Since the filament and the cathode are the same element in this tube, we call this a directly heated cathode. There can also be indirectly heated cathodes where the cathode is a separate element that is heated by the filament. There are a number of different tube styles, and there's more than one way to connect them. What we're going to look at today is a simple triode amplifier. At the bottom of the tube is a filament. This is an element that's heated by usually a lower voltage, and when it becomes hot, it will emit electrons. Typically, this is a low voltage with a high current. We'll say in this case, maybe we'll use 6 volts DC. It could as easily be AC. It just depends on the circuit that you're building. The element at the top of the tube is the plate. If we put a voltage on that plate, say 300 volts DC, and this will be a positive voltage. As electrons are being emitted off the filament, they'll be attracted toward the plate because of the high positive voltage, because opposites attract. In a state like this, the tube is running wide open. The maximum number of electrons that can be emitted by the filaments are headed toward them. However, if we put a grid in between the two, we can control that flow of electrons. If we put a negative voltage on this grid, then that negative voltage is going to repel some electrons. In other words, it's going to slow the process of electrons leaving the filaments as they're headed toward the plate. The higher the negative potential, the fewer electrons that can escape and make it to the plate. If we start raising this toward 0 volts and then toward a positive voltage, then we're going to allow more electrons to pass through and make it to the plate. This negative bias voltage can be used to completely shut off the tube. If that voltage has a high enough negative potential, then practically no electrons can flow and make it to the plate. If we put an AC signal on the input of this grid, that will cancel out the negative bias and allow electrons to flow. When electrons flow from the filament to the plate, they end up at the output of the tube out here. Let's make a little more room here on our drawing. keeping in mind that we're still putting our plus 300 volts of DC onto the plate. As the electrons leave the filaments and strike the plate, they're added to the potential coming from the plate. So this small AC signal we've got here on the grid of the tube will come out here on the plate as a larger signal, just depending on how many of the electrons can escape and make it through the grid to the plate. So this is a simple amplifier right here. We're basically taking the power or the heat that's generating the electron flow off the filaments, going to the plate, and then regulating it or using the grid like a valve. So that's why they call a vacuum tube a valve in some countries. There's more components that would go to this circuit to make it actually functional. We're not really going to talk about those today, other than just to give a couple of basic things here that you might want to know. On the output of the tube here, typically your positive voltage has to make it to the plate of the tube, but you don't want that high positive voltage making it to whatever this tube is driving. So you'll have a capacitor that'll block that DC voltage, but it'll allow the AC signal to travel on through. In many cases, you may not directly inject a negative voltage onto the grid. What you could do is use what they call a grid resistor for grid leak bias. Connecting a sufficient resistor to ground will cause this plate to be held at a negative potential. Then once you inject your signal into it and it counteracts that negative grid bias, electrons will be allowed to flow. So there's just a very simple explanation of how a triode vacuum tube amplifier would work. Perhaps we'll look further at this in the future. There's different reasons that you would want to use, say, a DC voltage or an AC voltage for the filaments. There's also other reasons that you might want a cathode in that tube and have an indirectly heated cathode rather than using the filaments itself for cathode. In most cases, that would be to eliminate any hum or noise coming off the filaments, say in the case of an audio circuit. There's your introduction to vacuum tubes. They're not used as much these days, but they're still around.
That's some pretty neat stuff, man.
Do you understand how it works now?
Yeah, a little bit. I probably need to go back and watch it again when we don't have other stuff going on here at the same time too. But yeah, I got the gist of it. I'm gonna rewatch it though.
That was a very simplistic view of it, which is my view of how they work.
Yeah.
There's more to know about it if you're actually going to try to build something with it. But that's basically how it works. That makes sense to you, Emile?
Absolutely. I got my 3500Z sitting right here in my ALADB next to me, and that thing is reliable, it's powerful, and they just work. And they work well.
Yep. When they work.
When they work.
When they don't work well, they work really unwell, yeah.
George, I'm always fascinated by old designs of tube-based radio receivers, because back in the old days, the actual tubes or the valves were actually quite expensive. And so sometimes to save costs, what they would do is they would amplify the received signal using the valve, then convert it to audio, and then once they had it in audio, they would feed it back into the valve and use the valve to amplify the audio as well. So they actually got dual usage out of the valve.
Oh yeah, some of them have multiple stages inside of a single tube. That was just a triode there, but there are a lot of different types of tubes and configurations, and that was as simple as I could come up with that I thought perhaps I could explain.
Yeah, that's a good explanation.
Yeah. There's actually simpler than that, is a diode tube, but I didn't go into that. Just leave off the grid, and it's a rectifier.
Yeah. And the other good thing is in the depths of winter, they actually keep you warm.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, Mike would probably know a little bit about heat coming from tubes and their advantages.
Actually, my first station were tube rigs. I wish I could remember what the transmitter was. It was a Collins, old Collins. It was a great big boat anchor. And I can't remember what the output tube was. I want to say an 807. It had about 90 watts output. It was AM and CW only. And it was kind of the matching transmitter to the popular R75 Collins receivers that you see all kinds of them around. But I've yet to see one of those transmitters at a swap. Maybe because they were so big and heavy. But yeah, I had that and a Hallicrafters SX71, which of course was all tube. And I'll tell you, there's something to be said about the manufacturing process back then, because it was almost like a work of art. The top of the Hallicrafters actually had a hinged lid. You could open it up, and it had all the tubes there with the actual tube numbers silk screened right onto the aluminum chassis. It was like art rather than the designs and stuff. Things are built, I guess, for cost savings today, of course. But yeah, it's something that we don't see anymore. That's for sure.
Yep, and you can still get tubes, but a lot of them are the vast majority of them are probably inferior quality to the tubes we could get 20 or 30 years ago. You can still get some good ones, though.
I was commenting in the chat room during your segment, and I know they don't teach electron hole theory so much anymore. And I think even when I went to college, it was they were teaching the conventional current theory. But there's something to be said about designing with tubes. I don't want to say simplistic, but it made design work a lot simpler than it was, or that it is, with solid-state devices. And you used fewer components, which is hard to believe today. To design a transmitter would require so many more components than it would have even back in the 40s when you used vacuum tubes for design.
And that's one thing about the big broadcast transmitters, the tube models. You might have a transmitter that's, the size of this wall behind us here, and there's really very few parts in there.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking, there's not a lot of parts.
Cool.
The ones that are in there, they're pretty big.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're at the portion of the show now where maybe we should open this thing up, Tommy.
Okay.
See
Hold
what
on, I'm about
crawls
ready.
out.
Yeah, hold on. I got to get ready too. We good. All right.
It is.
Did you pay your life insurance premiums?
Oh, you ready, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
If we don't make it out of this, tell my family I love them. And
I'm glad I'm several thousand miles away from this.
Yeah.
might not be quite far enough, Peter.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's move this out of the way.
That's not going to help you.
No, it's not. But
We're trying to keep the shrapnel down.
Okay.
I don't know. I might be more interested to see what's inside than you guys are at this point.
That's kind of worrisome. Did we lose Peter? Oh, he's still there. Somehow or another, he didn't show up on the top.
I don't know. It's wrapped in fine Canadian paper here.
Yeah. Now, do you cut the red wire or the black wire first?
I don't know, Mike. If you can give us some guidance.
It's the blue or the green, and as long as you don't have a tungsten light.
You're on your own.
Is it a VoIP phone? Alcatel-Lucent.
Oh, cool. Yeah, VoIP phone.
It is?
Yeah.
Cool. We can call up Mike when the show's over.
Yeah. You run Skype?
Well, I don't know if I need that again. But
Okay.
oh, it's food.
I've got the thing set up. Be automatic. Oh, cool. Now I see why I was concerned about the date.
I should say that there was a bit of a reason behind this.
Jeez.
The popular episodes like Vegemite or Die or the ever popular True Grits. I thought, you know what? I got to send you, like, basically, who sends you more crap than I do? I mean,
You spread it on pretty thick, Mike. I'll have to say.
and if you read that package, it'll say something like 100% real cheese. Well, I mean, that has some other meanings behind it as well.
Let's see.
Oh, Mike, you haven't sent the Marmite, have you? That's fake Vegemite.
Fake.
It says,
Fake Vegemite.
You
It's
give
a
it away,
cheap Canadian imitation.
yeah, I got it right here.
Well, I figured you like the Vegemite so much that you might enjoy some Marmite. We don't have Vegemite here, Peter, but Marmite you can get pretty much anywhere.
Now we call.
In North America, you can get Vegemite online, so it's there if you want it.
Really? I thought you needed a special export license for that kind of stuff.
No, not at all. Because remember, it's actually now manufactured by Kraft, so it's actually overseas owned.
No 916.
So is the Marmite, but I think it's interesting that you know, in today's world we live in a global village, so to speak, and all these multinationals, all these small companies, all these unique products that you find in different parts of the world, you can't find them anymore because they don't exist, because they've been swallowed up.
Yeah. Well, on the other hand, you've got things like Milo, which is an Australian invention that got eventually, I think it's bought out by Nestle, and you can get that in several countries now.
Dip it in this.
Yeah. Have another one. Cheesies are good, Mike.
Yeah, they are good.
Put some Marmite on it.
Yeah, you'll notice they're spelled cheesies with a Z rather than an S.
Mm-hmm. Is that the way y'all spell cheese up there?
Just cheesies.
Okay.
But not regular cheese.
They're good. Very good. All right. Well, let's don't open the Marmite just yet.
We're gonna save the best for last.
Yep.
Put it up here where everybody can see.
Way last.
No, you'll have to comment. I can't recall. It's been so long since I've tried Vegemite, and with your experience being a lot more recent than mine, maybe you could just tell us folks how they compare.
Okay. Is this going to be Marmite or Die?
Show us
I'm thinking expiry date expired or Die.
Hickory sticks. I've been threatened with a hickory stick before when I was a kid.
Yeah?
Oh, the tube's bleeding through. But anyway, Julienne's a la hickory.
When do those expire?
June the 14th.
Ah, they're still good.
I guess. Or is that June?
So
June of 14. I don't know. Let's find out.
Okay. They're from Hostess too.
Is this the same Hostess that we have here that makes the Twinkies?
That's I heard a rumor about a year ago that they were going to stop producing Twinkies. Everybody was freaking out down there, and people up here were sending Twinkies down because we still had them. People were ordering them by the hundreds, and we were shipping them down south of the border.
So there's a black market for Twinkies?
Well, there was, but I guess because of the backlash, they started producing them again.
Frito-Lay.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'll be. But you don't get those. You can't get those here that I know of.
No. They look like potato sticks, but I guess they're made from what? Hickory sticks?
it's actually trees.
You get a splinter?
Tastes like. I'll let you taste it before I say.
You feel okay?
Yeah. I'm gonna have a few more. What do you think they taste like?
Kind of like smoked potato chips, kind of.
That's exactly it.
They're good. It's good.
Barbecue potato chips.
It's very good.
Uh-oh.
What?
There's something in here that's double bagged.
Uh-oh.
It's heavy, too. Feels like a brick.
It's the moose jerky.
Whiskey?
Oh, awesome.
What
Oh,
is it?
man.
Maple syrup. Maple syruple.
Huh?
If I would have sent you whiskey, I would have never made it.
Let me get that out of the bag.
U.S. Customs would have had that in their own private stock by now.
Oh, awesome.
That is awesome.
Canadian pure maple syrup. That's the good stuff. I love that stuff.
Who
That's
guessed
some of
that?
our local finest.
Somebody guessed that.
Awesome.
Is there a date on that?
No date until after you open it. When you open it, though, I would recommend you put it in the fridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
And just take note, though, often when you go to the supermarket, you'll see maple syrup, and then you'll see maple-flavoured syrup, which isn't the genuine article. But what you've got there is the genuine stuff, which comes from the maple tree.
Yeah, it's actually from, we produce limited quantities of maple syrup in the area that I live. There's a lot of maple syrup produced in Quebec, and we produce small batches of it here. And just so you can get an appreciation of what it takes to make maple syrup, it's a 40-to-1. So the tree sap that they collect, they boil it off, and for 40 liters, or for a quantity of 40, you get 1 quantity of maple syrup when you're finished.
You got those shot glasses still in
I
here?
don't, but just take a swig off of it, and then I'll get one.
You gonna taste it?
I will taste it when we get our bread for the Marmite.
Okay. You gonna make some pancakes too?
Nah. Oh, and some stuff to wash it down with.
Oh.
We won't eat this yet. We'll have our vegetable or it's not
Macintoshes.
our vitamins.
Creamy toffee? Oops.
Is this?
It's got a hole
I'm
in it.
surprised.
Yours has a hole in
still
it.
flat? Oh, look at that! It's transparent in some places.
Yes. It must not be
It's
very
even
filling.
holes through the packaging.
That's how you know it's expired.
Well, once it gets transparent.
See-through food.
Wow.
It's got 2006 on it, or 2016, excuse me. I don't know what MABB means, though.
Mab.
Maybe 2016.
Well, it's toffee, and it's probably going to get eaten.
Awesome.
What you do with those is you put them in the freezer, and then you basically whack it on the kitchen counter, and it'll break up into pieces. Because otherwise, it's just like a piece of rubber at room temperature.
Cool.
Wow.
And give it to somebody that likes to chat a lot, because that'll shut them up for a good 5 to 10 minutes.
I know who I can use this on right now.
You better stop right there.
I want to talk about you.
Oh, I know.
All right,
I'll
Peter.
talk.
Peter, where are we going to eat, Peter? We got to go eat.
The chip things are good.
He's making me hungry.
Yeah.
Smarties.
Smarties.
Peter, do you
cool.
have Smarties down under?
We certainly do. Very popular. Yep.
Smarties.
For those that don't know what Smarties are, they're like M&Ms, only better. And it's kind of funny. Up here we have M&Ms as well, but it's generally the M&M peanuts. Those are like the plain M&Ms, but the chocolate I find is different. And there's no claim to fame that they won't melt in your hands. Those will melt in your hands.
So they're chocolate?
Yes.
Awesome. I've heard of Smarties before, but I've never had them.
Yeah. I will agree with Mike here. They are much better than M&Ms.
Oh, yeah?
That's personal opinion.
Well, I guess we'll have to find out.
This looks good, too.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Mr. Maple? Well,
I figured,
cookies?
Tommy, I figured you didn't get any of those, so I thought I'd send you another box.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was some other brand, I think, that you gave me at Dayton, but, you know, they were like liquid gold or something. They tasted so good.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll put these on this
No,
side.
that's okay. we'll sample them here shortly. And there's one more thing in here, and you sure this?
Now that's a familiar item.
This may have come. Did you slip something in here, Peter?
No.
Tim Tams.
Tams. Those
Tim
things.
Tams. Oh,
Yep.
Yeah, those. Yeah, awesome. Those were good. I remember those.
Those are very good. Let me check the date on them. Yep,
They're all-
2017, man.
No, all that stuff's fine.
Yeah,
if they
I'm
would have
sure it
had to sit here for about a year for it to go
So-
any of this.
so you have Tim Tams in Canada, do you, Mike?
We do actually. My sister lived in Melbourne about I don't know, about 8 years ago, and she used to send me care packages every once in a while. And Tim Tams, of course, were a big favorite. And then about a year later, our local grocery stores started stocking them. And since that time, when I went and picked that package up, I discovered that there were 2 other varieties now of Tim Tams. Those are the original. And I think they have a caramel, and I can't remember what the other one was, but yes.
So these
Yeah, we've got
are these
arranged
made in
them here.
Canada?
Yep.
This might become the International Ham Shack Food Requirement Pantry.
Yeah. And
I think we're going to have to build a menu list for field day and put some of these items on.
There you go.
Well, if you guys will give me just a moment,
We need to start a food show.
I should have some buttered toast standing by here. So let me go grab that.
A what?
Some buttered toast.
Oh,
We're going to need that. I don't think either one of us is brave enough to try this.
You don't want to just stick your finger in there and get some?
No.
How about a cheese? What is it? A cheese?
Cheesy.
Cheesy. These little things right here are great, Mike. So are these all common snacks there?
They are. They're all common, and like I mentioned, some of these products are from smaller companies, like the cheesies. There's only one factory that makes them in Canada, and that's kind of their claim to fame. They still make them the same way they did. I don't know how long they've been around, forever. But like I mentioned, a lot of these companies are being bought up by multinationals, and they're disappearing. Actually, I had plans on sending you because when you did the True Grits episode, we typically don't have grits here, and cornbread's very difficult to find, although you can get it in some places.
That was fast. That's
But
the
we had
fastest
a
toaster
product
ever.
called Red River cereal, and some people refer to it as gravel or birdseed because that's exactly what it looks like. So I found a box of it, and I looked at the label, and it said Smucker's on it, made in USA.
Uh-huh.
So
They
nice.
they got some cereal here like that. It's called grape nuts. It's like gravel.
yeah, we have grape nuts too.
It's terrible. Don't eat it.
Doesn't taste like grapes at all.
No.
And you have cream of wheat, which we do as well. That's
But they mostly only eat that in the north. We do the grits down here. The mostly cream of wheat's up north. But you can tell somebody from up north that's down here trying to eat the grits because they put sugar in it, in grits. That's
Really?
just totally wrong.
Yeah, sacrilege.
Mm-hmm.
Blasphemy. Okay, this stuff.
I can't wait for the official tasting and critique that follows.
Guys,
October.
when you smear the Marmite, I should say, again, just use it a little bit. I mean, we don't want you to end up in hospital.
Don't worry.
October the 15th of 2016, so we better eat this up fast.
Yeah, go ahead and put a whole lot on there then.
All of it.
Uh-oh.
You put half on yours and I'll go ahead and put a little on mine.
Smells a little bit different than Vegemite. Not quite as
Come on, that's
strong.
not even any on there,
Is
man.
that enough, Peter?
I can't even
Mike,
even see it. You need to put at least a dime's worth.
No, that's okay. A little bit more than that. That you can have a little bit more. Maybe a teaspoonful.
No. I don't think so.
Oh,
How about
man.
that?
Yeah, that'll
Well,
do.
here, you dig
That's a
on
start.
in.
Oh, come on, George. You're using a metric system.
I can always add more.
It smells different for sure.
Doesn't smell like the. Well, it smells similar, but not.
I don't smell the vitamin-y smell.
Marmite is when Canadians try to make Vegemite.
It's different.
Yeah.
That's,
George,
With syrup.
dig in, brother. You ain't got enough on there.
yeah. Look, if you don't like it, just smother it with syrup.
Yeah, put syrup on.
All right. I'm going to man up. I got enough on mine.
There we go.
Well, here, I'll put some.
Is this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Living dangerously.
Come on, there's yours. Look.
Looks like I sent George and Tommy a lifetime supply of Marmite.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
think it was a trick. It expires next month, and I'm not sure if we could survive eating that much in a month.
Do you eat this stuff, Mike?
I don't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
No, is that one you're trying to ship it all?
Wait, I wasn't supposed to say that until after I tried it.
You can at least see mine on the bread
You can see mine too.
if you look close.
I'm saving the rest of that bread. I got to have something to sop up the maple syrup with.
Tommy, I think we might have a solution for the squirrel problem.
Hey,
All right.
there you go.
Let me know what you think.
All right, ready, set, go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. It's a dare.
We're going to jump on the count of 3. Was that 3 or 2?
That's a puzzled look.
I don't know what to make of that.
It has a kind of an industrial flavor.
Yeah.
Industrial. Wow.
Well, I
Maybe-
think you compared Vegemite to axle grease, so
Kinda
maybe
salty.
this is.
Oh, it's not near as horrible as Vegemite.
Really? I think I actually prefer the Vegemite.
No. Really?
better. Yeah. The Vegemite's saltier. This has a kind of a different aftertaste to it.
Yeah.
Well, here, get some more hickory sticks.
Yeah, I think I will. I may have to wash it down with a Tim Tam.
Okay, second bite. Yeah. It's
Industrial?
yeah.
Don't eat too much, otherwise you'll end up turning into a Democrat.
We wouldn't want that.
That won't happen. I won't eat too much, let's put it that way.
I'm eating these. I'm picking out
Yeah.
over here. I hadn't had supper.
Yeah, I haven't either. Well, it looks like I'm about to have some syrup and toast.
Yep.
But I'm going to be sure to cut the stuff off, the Marmite off the toast first.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Maple cookies dipped in maple syrup.
I actually have a jar, I think it's possibly even the exact same manufacturer, a jar of maple syrup in my fridge, Mike. So I love the stuff. Use it on pancakes all the time.
So you can get this up there or down there, Peter?
Oh yeah. No, we got a number of brands of maple syrup down here.
Just don't send it economy. When my sister lived in Melbourne, I sent a. Typically, when we're producing, it's at the very first break of spring, when the sap starts flowing, which is typically April, May. And I sent a small jug of maple syrup down to my sister in Melbourne. But I sent it because of the weight. I sent it economy. She didn't get it until July. So
wow.
If you're gonna send it down to somebody, better spring for the extra money for the premium courier service.
Yeah.
Come on, you're not scared of the syrup.
I'm not scared of it. I just I'm leaving room for the For the
Actually, George, you've got to understand something about maple syrup, though. It's the exact opposite of Vegemite. So what you do is you literally drown the toast in maple syrup.
Yeah, I've had maple syrup before. Actually, it's
You got to sop
kind
it.
of popular. Yeah.
In the South, we sop things.
Sop?
Oh, okay. Yum.
That's as good as molasses.
Now that is good. That makes up for the Marmite for sure.
I guess we could talk with Mike again after this. So.
You're still in the club, Mike.
Yeah, and you're right. I do need to kind of ground it, Peter.
I think this qualifies as torture.
Are you guys getting hungry yet?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Here, I got something for you if you're hungry.
No, thank you.
Tommy, George, do you have Milo down in the south?
Never heard of it.
What about you, Mike? You would have run into Milo?
It's not ringing a bell with me, Peter. What is Milo?
Oh. Well, it's a chocolate drink, powdered chocolate drink, made out of, I think, barley, and it's absolutely fabulous. So I must send a jar of Milo to the guys.
Why does everything from us seem to have something related to the brewery? Isn't that where Vegemite comes from?
There's a theme.
Yes, it's true. It's true. I don't think it comes from a brewery, but Milo doesn't at least. But it was developed in Sydney and is sold in a number of countries around the world. So it's an international brand. So very much like Ovaltine, if you know that.
Okay, yes, we do have Ovaltine up here, and some other. I can't recall the names of them, but similar types of powdered chocolate.
All of a sudden, I have a powerful hungry for a waffle.
A waffle? Yeah.
Oh, you have waffles down in the south?
Yeah, we do.
Ah, love waffles.
Yep.
Belgian. Yum.
Okay, Tommy, what's next?
Let's try these.
Okay. So far,
What happened to Emile? Did you go order a pizza?
I'm going to say the maple syrup's on the top.
Maple syrup's good. These little hickory stick things are really
Those are
good to
good.
me. I like those a lot. The Cheeto things are the cheesies. I'll call them Cheetos forever.
You better hurry up, Tommy. George is putting a hurting on those cheesies.
They're more like to us Americans, Emile.
Okay.
These are more like the crunchy Cheetos, not the
Elmer's. Do you guys have Elmer's up there in Mississippi?
Elmer's?
Yeah,
think
it's like
so.
they have green onion Cheetos and
I haven't seen those.
they're real crunchy.
Ooh, these smell good right off the bat. Oh, wow. No, that is good.
This tastes like the same as the ones that Mike gave me at Dayton.
Mr. Maple.
All right, we'll see you later, Tommy.
Very good.
Yep.
You put them back in the box, you want another one?
See what my communicator tastes like.
Put them back in the box, you want another one? We're just going to put them in the box, just get them out of the way. Let's do that.
It's got a pecan flavor to it.
Yeah, kind
Very, very slight.
of. Pecans.
Made in peanut-free facility. We know how dangerous it is to mix peanuts and maple, so
Yeah, a lot of people are allergic to peanuts.
yeah. Yeah, those are good.
Yeah, I don't see pecans on there, but it does kind of have a nutty flavor to
I
it.
think if we took those and sopped them in the maple syrup,
That's like maple overload right there.
Yeah.
What is Jack?
What's interesting about that box is one side is in English, the other side's in French.
Yep.
Is this the same ones you gave me?
That's why I turned it to
in Dayton, Mike? Same.
Yes, George, they're the same brand. Just so you know, Canada being two official languages, we have packaging laws which require the printing of materials to be in both official languages.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Boy, these are. Look how those are packed.
Oh, wow.
Is it? Should these not?
Don't let them touch. It's kind of like crossing the streams.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know them being separated in Australia, but they're all just mixed in.
Whoa, hold on. That was close. They almost bumped into each other.
Are they different colors in the columns or no?
Yeah. Yeah, there are some blue ones, green ones, red. They're different sizes too. They're not all consistently the same size.
Oh, what do the green ones mean in Canada?
It's the red ones you got to worry about.
The red ones, okay.
Great, that's the first one I ate.
Anyway, they're good, aren't they?
Yeah, it is good.
Yep.
I remember when I was a kid, one of the ads or commercials for them was, when you eat your Smarties, do you eat the red ones last? They had a little jingle to it. I'm not really sure what the response or the meaning was for that, but
well, I just did that backwards.
Nestle's.
Really?
Yeah. And it does taste like Nestle's chocolate, doesn't it?
Yeah, milk chocolate.
And who is M&M's? Is that Hershey's?
That's Mars.
Mars.
They're good. The candy shell on the outside of it's good too. It's a little thicker than an M&M shell. Really good.
They will melt in your hands though.
Oh yeah.
Unlike M&M's. And they'll leave if you hold them in your hand for a couple of minutes, the dye or whatever the coloring is will come off and they'll be on your hands.
Colored palms.
Yeah. M&M's will do that too.
Yeah.
It's a security feature for young kids.
So they get busted if they've been dipping into them?
Exactly.
Into the Smarties?
Best if used by 2117.
That won't be a problem.
No, 2017.
Tommy, George, look, when I sent my package over to you, did I send you any Jaffas?
Yeah.
Yeah, the little round.
Yep. Okay. Yep. I won't
where you
need to
talked
send
about
those
they
again.
throw them down at the movie theater.
That's right. Those ones. You roll them down the movie theater aisles. Yeah,
Peter, one of my favorites were chocolate frogs, but I can't remember if they're. I haven't seen or heard anything about them lately. Are they still popular?
Oh, very much. You're talking about Freddos.
Freddos, yes.
Yep. They come in various different types. You get like spearmint ones, the milk chocolate ones. But still very popular.
Oh, Fritos?
And you can buy them in packs as well.
I was mentioning that when my sister lived in Melbourne about 8 years ago, she used to send me the Tim Tams because we didn't have them over here yet. Another thing she used to send me was the fresh licorice in the paper bags. And we have those now, or we have that now. I think it's Daryl Lee is one of the manufacturers.
If this one lasts a long time, we might better do this. We're going to save this one to last because if it's going to be 10 minutes when we...
Well, y'all may have to wrap the show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just be careful. If you've got any loose fillings, that'll remove them.
That'll find them for you. Huh? We'll have a dental check here tonight, too, while we're chewing those. We'll figure out if anybody needs to go have the fillings tightened up.
I actually did find some Tim Tams somewhere here recently.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to get one?
Yeah, I'm going to get one.
You guys really should do seeing as you've had these before, you really should do the Tim Tam Slam.
Yeah.
In other words, what you're going to do is bite the ends off of the Tim Tam, get a cup of coffee, and then suck the coffee through the Tim Tam.
Can you do that with maple syrup?
No, not with maple syrup, but with the Tim Tam.
Oh,
Do you have
Also
any
with
insulin
coffee.
around here? If you got some insulin, you can do it.
I was gonna say you guys are gonna be zoning out.
Yeah, if you weren't type 2 diabetic, you might be after this.
I have to say, though, that I love Tim Tams, but they actually give me a headache because they're just too sweet, so just too much.
It's really good. The chocolate on the outside, because it's so warm in here, that it's a little melted. But they're really good.
Well,
I'm actually
Australia.
pretty impressed considering how much time's elapsed since I sent them, and being how warm it's been this summer. I know, George, you kept it in a climate-controlled environment, but I have to imagine that the travel or the trip from my house to your house must have been on trucks and on air-conditioned warehouses and so forth.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it survived.
Well, they look like they've been kind of like a little melted the outside, a little maybe. I'm not sure exactly what they would look like, but you can see like where it pushed against the plastic.
yeah, but not
But it's
bad.
still fine. No, yeah, it's fine. But you can tell it's been a little bit warm. But it's warm in here right now.
All right, so what about the Macintoshes?
Are we going to be able to finish the show?
The
You can give it a
original-
try. I don't know if you can even get a piece off of that. If it's as warm as you say it is, it's going to be like one big piece of tough taffy.
Yeah, it's not going to break. You want to put it in the...
What? Wow.
You want to put it in the fridge over there in your thing until right at the end of the show and save it till the...
It's like
Close?
Tetris. Well, this is pretty much the close.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Think we could cut it with the butter knife?
We might cut it with a real knife.
You know where that thing's been?
In my pocket. So that's why we're going to use the butter knife.
Hey, Emile, have you got a first aid kit?
He's too far for it to do any good.
Right. Good 2 hours away.
At the job I had before this one, I always gave them a hard time. They they started equipping the offices with those, I forget the acronyms for them, but the defibrillator
AEDs?
thing.
Oh, the AEDs.
Yeah. So they put one right by my desk, and I was like the old guy there. I'm like, is it you trying to tell me something?
Statistics.
Oh, wow. That's not what I expected it to look like. It does look like just caramel. There we go.
Here, there's a...
Oh, yeah, there's a clean one under the bottom there. Just cut off a little piece like that for now.
Yeah, do you think we can do one that big?
Knife. You have the knife?
Go get the,
I got a hacksaw.
yeah, go get the hacksaw.
Or a torch? Where's Jimmy?
That's, wow, man.
Have you got a pair of aviation snips?
I do, yeah.
You might need them.
Well, I think we're going to need a chisel to get it off the plate here.
No, it's coming up with the paper's coming up with it.
Wow.
It sounds like another industrial event.
It looks sort of like
Good night, everybody.
the toffee out of a Heath bar, but it's sure not that consistency, is it?
Mm-hmm. And I got to sharpen my knife again. Kind of buttery, chewy.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't taste like toffee I'm used to, though.
I can't pull my teeth apart now.
I got a crowbar over here.
It's good.
It is good.
But I see what you mean about getting it cold, because it'd probably just snap into pieces real easy. Well, it was just chilled a little bit.
Would you be able to?
If you put that in the freezer and just give it a whack, it'll shatter into pieces. Because, like I mentioned, it's just one great big piece of. It's almost like a piece of thick rubber at this point.
Yeah.
You know that Gorilla Glue stuff?
Yeah. Looks kind of like that, doesn't it?
No, it feels kind of like it. It's pretty sticky.
Got a little more flavor though.
No, it tastes fantastic. But I can see what you mean about the fillings too. If you had some loose fillings, you probably don't want to chew on that on it.
No, and that's kind of reminded me of you don't see it that often anymore. Peanut brittle was bad for that as well.
It is kind of similar.
Peanut brittle's pretty popular down here.
Yep.
Creamy toffee. I wouldn't have associated this with creamy though.
Hey, Tommy and George, do you guys ever take Highway 49 coming this way?
No.
49?
49 on Hattiesburg, I think.
No, I never. Not coming down there. I don't. I usually just go down 55.
Okay. Yeah, there's plenty of little stores all along there. I think one of them's chain is called Donna's or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know where that is.
Yeah, we've gone that way going to the coast.
Okay.
Coast.
Yeah, I mean we stop there and get peanut brittle and the pretzels and all kind of things.
Yeah. Pralines are big over where you are. We need to get some pralines and send them over to Peter and Mike.
Pralines, that's right. Do you have those, Mike? You know what the pralines are?
Yeah, it's a nut. At least that's what I'm thinking it is. We have it in ice cream up here, but it reminded me when you were talking that when we were traveling down south, we used to go and stop. I think they had it in Georgia and some of the other southern states, pecan rolls. They were really, really good.
At Stuckey's.
At Stuckey's, you got it.
Yeah. But pralines are more like, it sort of looks like this taffy, sort of, but it's got nuts in it and stuff, but they're not really sticky like that.
They're good.
They're really good. As a matter of fact, every time we go down to New Orleans, we always bring a bunch of them back. So we'll have to see. I'm supposed to go down there sometime here pretty soon. I'll see about bringing some back. Maybe you can ship them over there.
Yeah,
to both of you. Bring you some too?
Some of that fish from Middendorf's.
Middendorf's?
Yeah.
Wow.
Probably won't be too good. You want to check the expiration date on it too before you eat it.
Yeah, I brought some last time I was down there. I ate all I could eat and still had some left, and I brought it back, put it in the refrigerator, and tried to heat it up and eat it the next day. It was.
It's not the same unless you eat it when it's fresh.
Well, what's your favorite, Tommy? What do you? It's hard to say, isn't it?
Yeah, the cookies are good. The cookies are probably maybe the favorite, and the little stick, the hickory sticks are really good. The syrup's amazing.
Yeah,
and it's all good. I like all of it. It's almost all good.
Almost. And how could you go wrong with Tim Tams?
Yeah, I know. I gotta say I'm not a fan of the Marmite stuff, Mike.
No.
If I had to choose between the two, I think I wasn't real crazy about the Vegemite, but the Vegemite I could stomach it a little bit better.
Marmite.
Really?
Was much easier than Vegemite to me.
Yeah, and this stuff keeps your door from squeaking on your truck if you put some on the hinge and everything.
What I use the Vegemite for.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Well, Mike, thanks for sending this fine Canadian
cuisine
edible swag here.
Yeah, this is awesome, Mike. Appreciate that. Sorry it took so long to get to it, but with field day and all that stuff going on. So.
We wanted to save it and have a special unveiling and have you joining us here for it.
Yeah, absolutely. It worked out good.
Well, thanks. It's been a blast, and it's always interesting to see you guys partake in other science experiments from different parts of the world.
Yeah, it's fun. It's always fun. I'm always pretty much game to try a lot of things. especially stuff like this is prepackaged. The one thing I didn't try was we went on a cruise when my son graduated from high school, and he tried the escargot there, and I would not try that. I'm sorry, I'm just not.
My folks say I tried it when I was real small, a toddler.
But before you had good sense and you knew what you were eating.
Yeah, I just thought it was a snail, you know.
Oh, all kids eat snails that are raw, but who wants them with cheese on them?
Yeah.
Well,
Have you tried?
I guess I could have sent you some Atlantic cod tongue, but it wouldn't have survived.
It's okay.
Man, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Have you guys tried frog's legs at all?
Yeah, I've tried them.
Tastes like chicken.
Yeah,
So
they-
does
they really
alligator.
do.
It really does. The alligator, oh yeah.
I haven't had alligator.
Yeah, it tastes like chicken too. It's just white meat. It is.
Seriously?
Yeah, I've had it down at in New
It's
Orleans.
good. It's just a little more, I guess, a rubbery texture to it, but it tastes like chicken. It looks like chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it.
What about crocodile, Peter?
I've never tried it, but it is available in Australia.
Oh, I'm sure.
Wow.
I'm
I've had
sure
it.
it tastes like chicken too.
The gator, I've had it at Mulat's down there in New Orleans. Emile, you been there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of places too west of New Orleans. Lots of all the people that got kicked out of where Mike is cooking everything that moves.
Yeah. Have you been to Mulat's?
Yeah, yeah.
Some of my relatives got kicked out of where Mike is.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Arcadians that got kicked out of Canada back in the day, they all settled down in southern Louisiana and some of the other southern states, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, really appreciate you putting all this together and sending it.
It was good.
Most of it.
I think I've got a couple of teeth stuck together back here.
Do I need to get the Dremel and put that filling back in?
You might. It won't go away, man. I've been chewing on it.
Yeah, it gets a little bit bigger before it gets smaller.
I tell you what, you really get your money's worth here out of the Macintoshes. That thing's better than an all-day sucker.
Yeah, it tastes really good.
It does taste good.
Very cool.
Well,
It's a babysitter's dream. Give it to the kids that won't keep quiet, and that'll take care of that
That'll
problem.
do it for sure, except they're going to get a sugar buzz and they're going to be bouncing off the walls all night.
nothing you can't take care of with a little Marmite or Vegemite, I guess. Well, thanks, Mike. Tommy and I will have to figure out how we're going to divide up this stuff.
We're going to arm wrestle.
Yeah, I'll let you have the Mr. Maple, although
Okay.
that is one of the better choices here.
Yeah, it's a good one.
The rest of it we'll just have to arm wrestle for.
Okay.
I don't know. I think that's all we got planned for tonight. And boy, it's been a lot of fun. This is probably going to be a really long show.
Yeah.
By the time it's edited, it's already over 2 hours. But, you know, like I was saying, Mike, you were right. If you can say 50% of it, you know, you're ahead of the game.
Yeah, maybe you can speed it up and we can chew real fast on there.
Yeah.
Well, I saved you the trouble on part of my video by putting most of that on the cutting room floor.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, your video was fine. We enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great.
informative.
Appreciate you going to the trouble of making that too. It was great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's tell them where we can find us on social media.
Yeah. First, why don't we tell them where you can get one of these
That's even a
fancy
better. That's a
shirts
better
here
idea.
that I've got. Where can you find them, Tommy?
At AmateurLogic.Spreadshirt.com. Get your Amateur Logic swag and be the best dressed ham at the next Hamfest.
Yeah, and just ask Tim there. You never know where Amateur Logic shirt could happen to pop up next.
He started something cool, I think. At least I hope he did. Wear your shirts and take some selfies with them and send them in, and let's put them on. Get them put on the show.
Bonus points if you can find a landmark for email.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or next to an email server or something. Email.
There you go. That would work.
Shouldn't be too hard to find something with cheap and old man, but finding them together might be a little bit of a challenge.
Could be. Could be. Well, also, what did you...
Social media.
Yeah, well, anytime we're doing a show, we've got a chat room going on at the same time now during the period that we're streaming it. And they've been having a big time in there tonight. I have to fess up, I haven't been able to watch it that much. We've had so much going on tonight. Boy, somebody's saying you could use that Marmite on the squirrels, Tommy.
Yeah, that would actually probably be a good use for this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Good. I wouldn't use maple syrup, though. We better save that. Also, we've got our social networks out there. There's a big group at facebook.com/groups/AmateurLogic.TV. There's always a lot of interesting things going on in there. A nice group of folks. And also,
I can't see the URL, but we have a Facebook group with I'm sorry, and I was just confirming what you said. And we also have a Google Plus group.
Well, community.
And a community group. So I can't see that URL at all because it says program right in front of it.
You wouldn't read it.
No, but you can read it on the bottom of the screen though.
Yep.
And go visit it there. That's where our friend Mike here that you saw, he does a lot of Facebook, or I don't have Facebook on the brain.
I don't know.
Photoshop pictures on there. So go back and look through some of the old posts on there and you'll find some pretty interesting artwork.
Yeah, and that's, as a matter of fact, that's where Tim had posted all of his stuff in here tonight. He had posted it over to the Google Plus community.
Yeah. You don't want to call it Facebook too, so I don't feel like the only guy?
No, I mean, you've done it enough.
All right.
To cover
There's been a lot more activity recently on the Google Plus from what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has.
We're pushing 2,500 members at this point.
Oh, that's really
cool,
come
yeah.
up.
Yeah, it is growing. And that's after weeding out all the other ones.
Yeah. It's a little different. The Facebook, what's posted on there and what's posted on the Google Plus, a little
two different feels to it.
Yeah.
It's the Google Plus stuff. It's either pretty technical or it's just kind of wackiness on there.
It's not down the middle, is it?
And it's not too much down the middle. but it's fun stuff.
I think between me and Mike, we have both of those cornered.
Yeah.
Wacky and technical.
And you can also follow us on Twitter.
Yep, at AmateurLogic. We also have at Ham College.
Yep, if you want to check out Ham College. Yeah. We do have a lot of licensed hams that watch that program.
Yeah.
And,
and a lot of licensed hams, a lot of unlicensed people
too,
soon to be hams, I hope. And we've actually had a lot of people email us saying that they got inspired from watching Ham College and went ahead and got their tickets and stuff. So that's kind of what it's all about. That's the whole reason why we're doing that.
Yep. It is exactly. Well, we've enjoyed being here tonight.
And the good meal.
And the good meal. It was a lot of, we really worked up an appetite just trying to get the show going tonight.
Yeah, this is true.
Technical issues that we had early on, but I'm gonna say now that we can say that using the Google Plus community for a group video call, along with trying to stream video to a YouTube server, does not work well. Skype, we didn't have any issues with, which we went to yet.
You can say that. I'm still not convinced that was the whole issue.
That was it, man. That was it.
Okay. 73, everybody.
All right. 73.
See you next
73.
time.
And 73 is from down under.
And 73 from up over.
Up over.
Up over.
My goodness, you finished that with exactly 1 minute worth of recordings time left on my camera.
This is take 217, video segment from hell.
Your audio is super hot, Jordan.
Mine is?
Yeah, it's sort of like static in the background.
Yeah,
That's the air conditioner.
but it's
Oh,
still hot.
Am I hotter than Tommy? Hello, 1 2 1 2.
Depends on who you ask, I guess.
Check 1 2.
And he's destined to be a budding Skype hunter at some point.
Your dog doesn't like the idea either, does he?
I missed it.
I said, your dog doesn't like the idea either, does he?
Oh, you can hear my dog.
Yeah.
I don't think he does like